everyone, and welcome back to Livie's Lovelies, your inspirational craft channel. Today I wanted to take a few moments. I was going to try and time myself today and see if I could give a tutorial on how to alter a pot holder and convert it into an eyeglass case. Something cute and fun to carry your sunglasses or your eyewear in, especially during the summer months when we're out boating and during different activities and we're out and about. We need something to provide padding and keep those cute accessories safe. So I'm going to start my timer, and I want to try and get this done in about 10 minutes. Not that I don't want to hang out with you guys, but just want to see for time's sake if I can accomplish this in 10 minutes, or should I say less than 15. Anyways, so I'm going to start that. The materials that we'll use are this pot holder that I've purchased from the Dollar Tree. This came in a set of 2 that you've probably seen in one of my previous hauls. The Dollar Tree also carries these lace doilies. This also comes in a pack of 2. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use the white today or if I'm going to use the cream, but we'll figure that out as we go along. And then I also have this pink colored applique. It's a pale pink, dusty and pale. And I purchased this off of AliExpress. That too was featured in another one of my previous hauls. And then we'll embellish it with some laces, some crochet lace, lace trim, and probably some type of floral or flower accents of some sort. Something that I've already made up prior to today. So, first things first, let's go ahead and cut off the label. So we will not need that. And where you see that little piece still there, you're not going to be able to get that totally off. So we'll use that as the inner part. Now you can, if you don't want a loop, which I do, cut the loop off with, use your scissors and cut that off. But I don't want to. I want to be able to have my eyeglass case, and if I want to attach something to this, maybe my keychain or hand sanitizer or what have you. So I'm going to leave the loop there, and then I'll cover it. So once you see where you have it folded in half, what you'll do is you'll go ahead and get your glue. Let's see, I think I'm hot enough here. Yeah. Make sure that that's placed in half. And while that's already in place, you want to glue from the inner corner, the very inner corner, and you want to go in just a little bit, and I'll show you what I mean. You don't want to take it all the way to the edge. Go in a little bit, because once you sandwich it, it'll squeeze out a little bit, and you want it to be a little more hidden. So you press that in place. And I'm left-handed, so some of this is being done away from the camera, so I have to apologize in advance for that. And once you have the bottom part done, you go ahead and need more glue. Once you have the bottom part done, you go ahead and line finish lining the side with the glue. And then you make sure that the edges are completely together, and you press it into place. And so once you have that, in which I need to go up a little bit higher. I think my glue, yeah, there we go. Go right to the corner. Take it right to the corner. And you don't want to go up much higher than the corner. You don't want to totally close it, because you still need to have it open enough for your sunglasses to slide into. So don't close it up totally. All right, let me slide that back out of the way. Okay, and so I think today what I'm going to use is white. Let me think. No, I think I'm going to use cream, because I would like to be able to add this vintagey teal to it. And I think that that would give a nice, it would be a really pretty color palette. So I'm going to go ahead and take the label off of this doily. I'm not sure what part of it I'm going to use, but we'll play around with it. And we're going to use our lace trim to cover the edge. So you want to get as much of the doily up to the edge and without having to cut away at it. In other words, you don't want to waste any. So be mindful of that when you do your placement. Let's see. Gotta grab a little bit more. I think that ought to do it. So again, I'm not really worried about too much, anyways, I should say, about the very edge of it. Now, because I'll be putting the applique down as well as the trim down over it, I don't need a whole lot of glue on the to attach this to this, because once I put the applique down, that's gonna adhere it, and the trim is gonna adhere it with the glue. So I'm just gonna do it sparingly. And then whatever I don't use, I'll place in, I'll, you know, put in my scrap bin and use for scraps or future usage. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over and take my glue gun and go over some areas that are a little bit thicker where I can put the glue down without it being too noticeable. Then I'll stretch that back out, set that in place. And we'll do the same to the other side. Actually, what I think I'll do is I'll go ahead and cut the bulk of it off. And that way it's a little bit easier for me to work with. Don't want to cut too much away, because waste not, want not, right? And again, even if you cut a little bit more than you anticipated, don't forget that, you know, you also have the appliques that are going to cover it. You also have the trim, the lace trim, that's going to also provide a little bit more coverage as well. So one of the good things about crafting is you don't have to be perfect, which is probably one of the main things I'm attracted to this art form, I should say. And I'm actually cutting through a little bit of the glue with my good scissors. These aren't fancy. These are not expensive scissors, but they are my fabric scissors, and they are labeled as such. See, actually, the pouch that they go into is labeled as such. Okay, so now that we've gotten that bulk out of the way, we can focus more on what we are working with. Okay, so now that we're on this side, you can go ahead and put some glue down on this side. you can do so sparingly. And I think that timer's getting ready to go off. Don't be alarmed. I won't leave you hanging. I don't have a hot date tonight. Maybe that'll be next weekend for me and my husband. That sounded funny, didn't it? Well, in my head. It'd be nice if you did. If we did have a hot date. We don't have a lot of babysitters because we were relocated here a few years ago, and so we don't have family, and I don't leave my child with anyone. So, date night is a rarity. His godmother or my best friend will typically keep him if there's some place that I have to go to that, you know, children aren't, it's not a appropriate environment for children, whether it's your doctor's office or court or blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, my Joshua goes with me everywhere I go. You see me, you see him. Okay, so now that we have that down, I'm going to go ahead and fine-tune these edges, and then I'm going to stop the clock because it's at 3 seconds, and I don't want to hear the annoying buzz. Okay. Okay, so we are just getting some of the edges cleaned up and preparing it for our applique and lace trim. Okay. And then there's some areas around the edge that I do want to make sure that they are glued down a little bit better. So I'm going to go back in and just give a little bit, put a little bit more down. And now I have a big mess on my desk from the lace trimmings, from the doily trimming. But that's no problem for us, right? A messy craft room is an active craft room. Okay, so I'm gonna just put a little bit down here and then just use my spatula to press everything in place. I'm not a perfectionist, I just know that there's things that I'm not going to be able to cover with the trim, so I want to get that now while I can see it, instead of regretting that I did not take the time to go back and do it when it's done. Okay. I think that about does the trick for that. Alright. So now that we have that done, the glue strands are a pain in the behind, and you can get easily distracted with it. My son is in the background. He wants to be in this tutorial so bad, but he is on the other side of this door, patiently waiting. He's not patiently waiting because he's on the other side of this door where I can hear him. Tonight is movie night, so when I'm done with this, we are going to pop some popcorn and cozy up in bed and watch some movie made by DreamWorks. That's if he can contain himself until I'm done with this tutorial. Okay, so I'm going to use this here lace trim, if I can get the end, to wrap around here before I put my trim down. The trim that goes around here. Let's see how much more I need. This is just something to cover this loop and make it look cute. See. Okay, and I was cut just a little bit larger than what I need, just in case placement it becomes an issue. And you never know until you get to gluing whether or not placement is going to be an issue. Okay, so I'm just making sure that it's going to start and end where I want it to. Otherwise, I'll have to shift it a little bit, in which case it will. All right, so I'm going to lift that piece up right here, glue this down. And then add a little bit to the closed parts here. Okay. Alright, so now that we have that there, I'm going to finish that lat. I'm going to cut off the excess and attach this last little piece. Yeah. Okay, I think we're set here. That glue is hot. Be careful. That little piece, that'll be a flower for some next project. Okay, so now I'm going to take this trim, go around the edge. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to need to cover that. I think I'll use this here trim. Let's see if it's wide enough. And it is. And being that it's wide enough, I think I'll put it on afterwards so that the sides can bow out. Alright, so, and if you notice, I reuse cereal boxes to keep my lace organized. That's what this is. Nothing but cereal boxes and any type of boxes that come out of the pantry. When I'm done using them, I'll cut them up and use them to wrap my lace around because I cannot stand having them willy-nilly everywhere. So, okay. So what we'll do is we'll start from the back here. This frayed edge off. And do we want it this way? Or do we want it that way? Wow. One thing's for sure, we gotta make sure we have it on the right side. That's the right side, actually. Okay, so do we want it this way? Or do we want it? I think we want it with the scallops out. In which case, we'll have to start. I'll start from here. Alright. So here it goes. Put that first piece down. Press it in place. And that's at the, I put it a little bit to the left of the center. Loose strands, loose strands. If they only knew how unwelcome they were. Okay, so I'm going to go right along the edge with the glue. And there's a part on your edge where you're going to have to turn it. Just secure the edge and then you work this part in with your glue. So don't worry too much about that. Just make sure you have the edge right. The placement of the edge is correct. You have to play with it a little bit. Lift it up, put it back down before it gets hot. Before it cools off. Not a problem. And yes, sometimes I do have to pull it up. I am not perfect. I don't claim to be. And I don't think I try to be either. Because once you become perfect, I mean, what else is there to expect but perfection? And be frank and honest with you. Isn't being perfect, isn't that a little overrated and a little bit boring? Yeah, I believe so. Alright, so now we're at the part where we just go on down. Now that we've worked that edge out, go on down, making sure we stay along the edge, the very edge of it. And stop right before you get to the curve, because that's where you'll have to play with it again. Make sure that the placement is correct. Just make sure that you're going around the edge with the scallop or with the edge of your lace. Don't worry about the center. I'll show you how to get to that in just a moment. Before we flip it over, I should say. Okay, so now that that's where it needs to be, I'll come back here, take the glue, and just press that into place. Remember, we are going to be using that. I'm going to be using an applique, and that may very well cover up any obvious imperfections. Not that we're aiming for perfection. We just want it to look cohesive. And we're going to do the same to this side here. Just go right underneath that lace. Bring it on down. Far enough there. Okay, so then we flip it on over, but before you flip it over, you're going to want to just get this edge with the glue, so that once you flip it over, you don't have to go back in, and you already know that it's secure, and it also helps you line it up. Okay, so press that down into place. Get your glue. Stop at the corner. Oh, don't worry, that was just the glue gun. Press into place. Halfway through with it now, y'all. Go back in here, get the corner, get the edge, so I can press that back down all at once. Press this down first, and then I'll go over here and play around with that placement a little bit more. More glue. Where is that chime when I need it, right? All right. Stop at the edge. Press your scallops into place. And turn. And you do want a little bit of a curve there. You don't want to make it a straight, basically a corner. You do want the curve. The curve does give it that feminine and soft touch. So, you know, just be sure that you keep that in mind while you are designing the look of your eyeglass case. Okay, and then we're going to go right back And let me just clean up some of these glue strands. I don't know if they're driving you crazy, but they definitely are giving me a run for my money. Or should I say my Dollar Tree money. I'm gonna go back in and make sure everything is laying just the way we want it. That corner. Particularly careful how that one is laying, but thank God for appliques, right? Because okay, so we got that part. I'm trying to make sure I stay in view here so I don't lose you guys, so you can see everything. Alright, so we have made it all the way back to the seam. And we're going to cut this. Actually, probably should be cut a little bit more, but I need to tuck that in a little bit. So make sure that when you close it, you fold it, and I'll show you. A little glue there, so that when you fold it, it leaves a clean finish. Fold it, and then you glue it down, and now you won't have to worry about frayed edges. And make sure you put a good amount of glue on that, so just in case it gets caught, it's not going to pull apart, and then you have thread, or trim hanging out your purse, or diaper bag, or whatever, wherever this is going to end up at. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Okay, now I wanted to use this in the seam. So what I'll do is I'll take that, go right down the middle, I'm going to tuck it on the inside. And before I stop, let me just make sure my glasses fit in there. Actually, it goes the other way around. Perfectly fit. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of glue on the inside, tuck that in. And this is one of those things that the spatula is so good for, because I am not putting my fingers down in that hot, dark hole. That did not come out right. Oh, comedy craft night. Alright, so once you have that secured to the inside, just run a seam of glue down so that adheres properly. Take it all the way to the back where the fold meets. Press it in place. And no, it's not going to cover every piece of this here seam, but I don't think that that's as important as adding a little bit of interest to it. So let me just cut a little bit more of that off. And wherever it ends at, you want to make sure that it gets a good amount of glue to prevent it from catching on anything. Okay. Alright, so now that we have that there, I think that's looking pretty cute. Pretty cute. Lastly, one of the last things that we'll do is we'll add this applique. Now, I'm left-handed, so this is more so the side that I would add it to, just because I'm left-handed. I wanted to cover some of the trim, not all of it. So once you have your placement, and let me just make sure that that's the direction I want it to go in. Yes, I think that's the direction we're going to go in here. Now, let me switch it. Oh yeah, I was just so sure, wasn't I? Alright, so once I have that placed, I'm going to cut these extra pieces off. And I'll use the bottom part for later. And that's the good thing about appliques. You can break them up. You don't have to use the entire thing. You know, use them how you see fit. Okay, so you have that there. Now what you want to do is you want to find a good spot to start your applique at. Turn it over. Place some glue on the back of it and glue one part down. Once you have the one part glued down, then you can turn it over and glue a little bit more. But you want to glue the back of the applique, because just gluing the base of what you're using, sometimes it'll leave some of the glue exposed, and the less glue people see, especially if you're giving this as a gift, I think the more professional or the more finished look it gives off. So I am just going to take my time and finish that. Can you hear my son singing in the background? He sings all day, by the way. Much like his mother. I don't necessarily wake up singing, he does. But there's not really a moment in the day that I can't belt out some worship song or some gospel song or, well, actually some R&B or jazz. Because music makes me happy. Almost as happy as crafting. I think but I relate a lot to some of the songs that I hear, so, and I'm sure he does too, so that's probably why you hear him in the background. And if you do and you don't like it, I apologize. But I don't think that's something that I would want to curb, his love and his joy for music. And he's 6 years old. It's not much we should be curbing for them at that age anyways. Alright, so now that the applique is laid, I'm just going to add a few embellishments to it. One of the things I want to add to this one is, now these are pieces that I have made from some jewelry that I've had. Because I make jewelry as well, I often have pieces that I don't necessarily think would go in with the aesthetic of what I'm creating. So there are times where some of them are used for other things. In this case, this will. So I think this one little piece is pretty enough to stand out all by itself. And then I'll use some other white pearls around it. I'm going to take that. Let's see which place, I think I like it best right there. So I'm going to take that, put a good amount of glue down, press it into place. And then I've got to grab some white pearls from my shelf. So bear with me just a moment. Okay. Now here is my pearl stash. Let's see, do I have any big ones? I like the really big, I think the really big ones and a couple tiny ones will work. So I think I either got these from the dollar store or Walmart. But I wouldn't pay more than $1 for them. They're just sticky pearls. That's it. So I'm going to place one right here. Let's see if I can get that in without me dropping it in the glue awkwardly. And nope, it went in the glue awkwardly. Okay, let's use another one. Maybe we'll put another, where did it go? Okay, here's here. Put another one, maybe here. Yeah. Space it a little bit. And then maybe a small one over here. Oops. Here we go. Of course, that did not flip right. I gotta get another one. Okay, I won't rest until that glue is off of it. And so I'll pick at it all night. All right, here we go. Got one. Placed just right. I'm gonna take the pearl out of that one and put a bigger one on. Yeah, that works. All right, and then probably just cover up these little smaller ones with the medium-sized ones. They're sticky back, and they definitely are sticky. Oh my goodness. There's no way to have prepared that. Okay, so more here. I don't like to do too much with my projects, so I like to try and keep it a little simple as possible, without it being plain. But at the same time, to each his own. Some people may add more, some people may add less. It all depends on what you like. You know, don't style anything based on me, because I am not styling anything that I like for myself based on anyone else but me. Okay. All right, so just taking a look. Yeah, I think you can hear my son singing Paw Patrol in the background. Heaven forbid he be quiet through an entire tutorial. Woo. All right, so we have a finished eyeglass case. And I think it's really cute. And it actually would make a nice gift for a friend, you know, my Mother's Day gift, a college student who is a Shabby Chic lover. I think it's darling. And I think we did that in under 30 minutes, so there you have it. And all of this, aside from this lace trim and this applique, came from the Dollar Tree. They have these pearls too. So with all that being said, I want to thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button to get notified of new projects, DIYs, and hauls, future hauls. And until we meet again, be encouraged, be blessed, and take good care of yourself. Bye for now.